Good morning, Year 10. I hope you're well and having a lovely day. Please could you complete the do now? How would you describe Sheila? Use quotations to support if you can. Pause the video to do this now. Please could you write the date and title? The title is What is the relationship like between Gerald and Sheila? Key moment 3. So these are some things you may have written down. Materialistic. Now I really feel engaged. Oh mummy, isn't it a beauty? So the ring is really important to Sheila. Patronised. Run along. I think Miss Burling ought to be excused. Jealous. If she'd been some miserable, plain little creature, I don't suppose I would have done it. Aware. He's giving us the rope so that we'll hang ourselves. These girls aren't cheap labour, they're people. Matures. You and I aren't the same people who sat down to dinner here. Intuitive. Why, you fool, he knows. Sheila feels this at once. If you didn't get these, can you jot them down now, please? Next, I would like you to reread pages 25 to 29 of An Inspector Calls, focusing on the characters of the Inspector, Gerald and Sheila. As you read, annotate anything you notice about Gerald and Sheila. Pause the video to do this now. So before we go through it together, I'd like you to go through it by yourself one more time. So read through it one more time, making notes on the presentation of characters, use of language and structure, thinking about the effect on the modern and contemporary audience, and thinking about the themes. Pause the video to do that now. Okay, so let's go through together, starting from page 25 in the middle. The inspector says steadily, and remember you can use the extract attached to this lesson if you would prefer. So the inspector says steadily. Steadily shows he's calm and in control. I said she changed her name to Daisy Renton. Gerald, pulling himself together, which shows he's been shaken. Do you mind if I give myself a drink, Sheila? So due is colloquial, informal language, which shows a shift from his earlier formal language, which further consolidates this idea of him having been shaken up. And the fact that he's asking Sheila for permission, in a very patriarchal society, a man-led and driven society, shows that there's been a power shift in their relationship. Sheila merely nods, still staring at him, and he goes across to the tantalus on the sideboard for a whiskey. So a tantalus is like a dresser. Where's your father, Miss Burling? He went into the drawing room to tell my mother what was happening here. Eric, take the inspector along to the drawing room. So again, we have this power shift. Sheila, a young girl, is taking control of two men who would be regarded as her social superiors. As Eric moves, the inspector looks from Sheila to Gerald and then goes out with Eric. Well, Gerald? Gerald trying to smile, which shows he's determined to maintain the facade, this false front he's been keeping up for so long. Well, what, Sheila? How did you come to know this girl, Eva Smith? I didn't. Daisy Renton, then. It's the same thing. Why should I have known her? Oh, don't be stupid. So here we got a derisive, condemnatory remark. We don't have much time. So she's curt and resolved and businesslike. You gave yourself away as soon as he mentioned her other name, which reveals that she's perceptive. All right, I knew her. Let's leave it at that. We can't leave it at that, which shows a determination to get the truth. By the way, when I say make points about a particular quote, you can choose yourself what quotes you want to highlight. So in Jekyll and Hyde, I told you which quotes I would highlight, but when we go through the key moments, I want you to decide what quotes you think are important. I will tell you anything which is extremely important, but I want you to be thinking as well what's important. So I would highlight, we can't leave it at that. Gerald approaching her. Now listen, darling. So darling shows it's a term of affection and endearment. No, that's no use. You not only knew her, but you knew her well. Otherwise you wouldn't look so guilty about it. So again, her being perceptive. When did you first get to know her? He doesn't reply. Was it after she left Millwoods? When she changed her name, as he said, and began to lead a different sort of life? Were you seeing her last spring and summer, during that time when you hardly came near me and said you were so busy? Were you? So we've got repetition of questionings here, which makes her interrogatory and like the inspector. She's no longer compliant and playful. Yes, of course you were. I would highlight that, showing that she has confidence in her convictions and is able to draw conclusions. I'm sorry, Sheila, but it was all over and done with last summer. I hadn't set eyes on the girl for at least 6 months. I don't come into this suicide business. So like Mr. Burling, he refers to it as a business. I thought I didn't. Half an hour ago. You don't, which shows a lack of understanding. Neither of us does, so for God's sake, don't say anything to the inspector. About you and this girl? Yes, we can keep it from him. This shows he cares about his reputation, and he's a bit more ignorant than Sheila. Sheila laughed rather hysterically. Why, you fool! The fact she's calling him a fool shows that she's younger but wiser. She's also breaking free of gender roles, because she's taking control here. He knows, of course he knows, again showing her perceptive nature. And I hate to think how much he knows that we don't know yet, which is foreshadowing. You'll see. You'll see. So more confident foreshadowing. She looks at him almost in triumph. Almost in triumph because her prior suspicions were correct. He looks crushed. The door slowly opens and the inspector appears, looking steadily and searchingly at them. So Act 2. Inspector to Gerald. Well? Sheila with a hysterical laugh. To Gerald. You see? What did I tell you? So again challenges Gerald and his power. The hysterical laugh could indicate childishness or the result of being overly protected and being told women get hysterical. Or it could even be sexism, presenting her in a hysterical manner. Though I doubt it, because she's the most switched on and perceptive character. What did you tell him? Gerald with effort. Inspector, I think Miss Burling ought to be excused from any more of this questioning. She's nothing more to tell you. She's had a long, exciting and tiring day. We were celebrating our engagement, you know, and now she's obviously had about as much as she can stand. So very infantilizing, treating her like a child, speaking on her behalf, and showing he still feels he has dominance over her. And so very patronizing, very infantilizing. He means that I'm getting hysterical now. And are you? Probably. Well, I wouldn't want to keep you here. I've no more questions to ask you. No, but you haven't finished asking questions, have you? Which shows she's intelligent. She's growing up and starting to understand about responsibility. No. Sheila to Gerald, you see? Then I'm staying. She's showing she's assertive, defying 2 men and doing what she wants. Not typical for that time. Why should you? It's bound to be unpleasant and disturbing, which is implying that he thinks females are fragile and should be kept away from these kind of things. Inspector, and do you think young women ought to be protected against unpleasant and disturbing things? So indicating he's more open-minded and liberal with regards to gender roles. If possible, yes. So, quite sexist. Well, we know one young woman who wasn't, don't we? Which indicates that class dictates what women are exposed to. Sheila, as an upper-class woman, is kept away from horrible things. Eva Smith was not. Indicates potential society's hypocritical stance with regards to females based on their class. Sheila, be careful you don't ask for any more, Gerald. Taking control and giving advice. I only meant to say to you, why stay when you'll hate it? It can't be any worse for me than it has been, and it might be better. Gerald bitterly, I see. What do you see? You've been through it, and now you want to see somebody else put through it. Sheila bitterly, so that's what you think I'm really like? I'm glad I realised it in time, Gerald. So she was previously so in love, but now we have a complete breakdown of this relationship built on secret and lies. No more trust, no more affection. No, I didn't mean... And I would highlight that, sorry. I'm glad I realised it in time, Gerald. No, I didn't mean... Sheila cutting in. Yes, you did. And if you'd loved me, you couldn't have said that. You listened to that nice story about me. I got that girl sacked from Millwoods, and now you've made up your mind I must obviously be a selfish, vindictive creature. I neither said nor even suggested it. Then why say I wanted to see someone else put through it? That's not what I meant at all. All right then, I'm sorry. Yes, but you don't believe me. And this is just the wrong time not to believe in me. So she's condemnatory and threatening there. Inspector, massively taking charge. So unlike Mr. Burling, he doesn't use class to take control, but purely the desire to find out what's going on. Allow me, Miss Burling. To Gerald. I can tell you why Miss Burling wants to stay on, and why she says it might be better for her if she did. A girl died tonight. A pretty, lively sort of girl who never did anybody any harm. But she died in misery and agony, hating life. Sheila distressed. Don't, please. I know, and I can't stop thinking about it, which shows she's sensitive and empathetic, but she's not weak. So please make sure you have that noted down in your book or extract. If you need to go back over that section, please do so before you move on. Okay, what I'd like you to do now is answer this question. What is the relationship like between Gerald and Sheila? Use your notes from today's lesson answering today's question, using evidence from the text to support. Please do refer back to the success criteria for these types of questions. You should be referring to language and structure, using terminology, talking about the reader response, crafting an answer with a position, and referring to context. Pause the video to do this now. And that is the end of today's lesson. Thank you very much for your hard work. I look forward to speaking to you next time. Have a lovely rest of your day.